In this module, we're going to talk about the AdSense dashboard itself. So after you get your ads in place and you have visitors to your website, they start clicking on your ads, then you're going to start earning money. And when you go to the AdSense homepage, like we have here, and you've signed in, then you're going to see your estimated earnings. This is just kind of the dashboard summary level, the amount that you've made so far during the day, how much you made the last 7 days, 28 days, and then the last payment that you received in the previous month, for example. Um, so we don't spend a lot of time on this homepage summary. Where we spend most of our time is in something called performance reports. When you open up the performance reports, you see that on the left there are a lot of different kinds of reports to select for the entire account by day, the various websites if you have more than one website, countries, ad units, and platforms. Ad units are the individual ads that you've created. Platforms are the different device types, whether it's desktop, tablet, or mobile. And then there are a lot of advanced reports as well, looking at your data by week and by month and by custom channels. You recall when you set up an ad, you could actually create channels to group kinds of ads together. For example, I said that if you wanted ads that were all on your tips page, you might create a tips channel, or if you wanted to report on ads that were all on your news page and your news page only, then you might create a channel just for news. Those are just some examples of kinds of channels that you might use. And then the ad types. This will be well, we'll take a look at a few of these, but I just want to kind of give you a quick overview. Ad sizes, you can report on those so you can find out which size of ads are doing better than others. So let's just kind of look at the very first report that we get presented with just sort of by default. And here you have the estimated earnings for this time period. In our case, we're looking at today. Let's look at this whole month of March. So we're looking at, this is the amount that we've earned so far during the month. It's the number of page views and the number of impressions. As you see, the impressions are about 3 times bigger than the page views. That's because we have approximately 3 ads per page, and so this is counting how many ads actually get displayed to users, the total number of times people have clicked on our ads. And then the RPM is the amount that we've earned per 1,000 impressions of our ads, or rather for 1,000 page views of our ads, and then this is the amount that we earn per 1,000 impressions of our ads. And the active viewable this is the percentage of ads that were actually able to be seen by a user on our site. Now, why would that not be 100? How come not all of our ads are able to be seen? And that's quite simply because users don't always scroll down to see all the ads on your page. So at any given time, you have ads that are never seen by users because they never scroll down. So that's kind of the simple explanation. And this is the combined earning of all kinds of earnings. But here we have different tabs like clicks and views. These are the most important ones. You earn money in 2 ways. One is by clicks, and this is pretty clear. So like on this particular site, we had 13,000 clicks. They were clicked on 2.23% of the time. So this click-through rate is a pretty important number. And obviously when you move ads around on your site, you will change the click-through rate. If you put the ads in bad positions, you'll have a worse click-through rate. If you put them in good positions, you'll have a better click-through rate. And there's some other things that affect click-through rate that are outside of your control. For example, if Google starts showing ads that aren't pertinent to your visitors or are lower quality ads because they think that maybe you have a lower quality site and they're saving their higher quality ads for other sites, then you could see a lower click-through rate. And certainly in that case, you would also see a lower revenue per click. This is actually CPC, which stands for cost per click, but from your perspective, it isn't cost, it's actually income. So this is like a revenue per click number. So on this site earned 17 cents for each click. And we also made $3.87 per page view, per 1,000 page views. So, you may recall this number is different than the number we saw over here, which was like 7.68, but that's because this is only for revenue that's coming from clicks on ads. And there's another category of revenue that's not clicks, but views. So, so when we also get paid in some cases for simply showing ads to people, whether they click on them or not. And we don't have any control over that. Google decides which ads are in one category or the other, and they're just based on relationships that they have with their advertisers. So just want to kind of go back to this overview and then scroll down and show you what it looks like in the table below. There's a graph, and this is earnings. And then in the table, it shows how many page views we have, how many ad impressions. Again, for this site, we have about 3 ads per page. Occasionally, there might be a really short page, and so we might only display 2 ads on that, so it won't be exactly 3 times this number. And then the clicks and the RPM and the impression RPM, which, as I mentioned above, this is for the page at the page level, and this is by impression. And then the active viewable, it varies from day to day, but you can see it's fairly consistent. And then the amount that we were earning by day, we were earning about $279 a day for this month. So that's kind of the basic dashboard report, but let's take a look at ad sizes. This can be instructional, except that in this case, it's not instructional because all of our ads are of the responsive size, which means that it changes shape and size based on device. So for your site, if you have selected different sizes, then those would show up here. Like you might have the 336 by 280 and the 728 by 90, and you might have responsive, in which case you'd have 3 different line items here. Targeting types is another interesting report. This shows the split between interest-based ads, which I explained to you earlier. These are the ads that kind of follow people around based on what they've been searching for. And so in this site, you can see that a lot of the ads are actually interest-based, 55%, 56%, and that's pretty high. Most websites are not running nearly that high for interest-based ads. And then the other category, contextual, this is the more typical kinds of ads. These are the ones where Google tries to figure out what your page is about and displays ads that are related to the content on your page. And then placement ads, this is a very small category on this site, and what that means is that that advertisers have actually located your website, and they specifically have put an ad on your site, not just generically targeting keywords, but actually targeting your specific site. And we click on the bid types report and scroll down. I mentioned to you that we make money when people click, and then sometimes when they view. And so this is the money that came in. Obviously, the vast majority is for click-related ads, and then there's a little bit of money in per view ads as well. If we click on ad networks and scroll down, you'll see that the vast majority of the money is coming directly from Google AdWords. As I explained earlier in the course, AdWords is for the advertiser, where they're actually buying ad space, and of course we are the publisher and we're getting paid in this case, and we use AdSense. And then there's a tool called Bid Manager that's also run by Google, and people can send their ads through that to us. And then there are quite a number of other ad networks that collaborate with Google, and so they are not Google themselves, but they collaborate with Google and use their platforms, the Google platform, to display their ads. So those are some of the primary kinds of reports, and you can look at these, and a lot of them are self-evident what they are, but here's kind of the weekly report. Since there's only been 2 weeks this month, um, that's all you see there. And of course, you can set up your own reports if you like by clicking on New Report. There is one column that we haven't talked about, and it's called, first we're going to go back to days, and then I'm going to show you, it's called Custom. And when you create a custom report, you get to pick from a list of what you want to display. And so in this case, I have a custom report set up, and it only has one column. The column is called coverage. And I just wanted to explain coverage to you, which is why I set this report up. Coverage is the percentage of the time that Google actually fills up an ad space with an ad. There are situations when Google just simply doesn't have a good ad to put on your site at that particular time, when they'll actually leave that spot blank. You recall that when we set up an ad, there was an area on the screen called backup ads, and that's when you're telling Google what to do when it doesn't have an ad to display. And sometimes it leaves it blank, or other times you can tell it to display an ad that you give it yourself. And in order to do that, you actually have to create an image and create a URL to store that image, and then Google will go get that image from that URL, and you can look that up online on how to do that. But the point here is that you want to have coverage rates like this that are in the high 98, 99 percentile, because what that means is that only 1% of the time did Google not have an ad to show your users. And clearly, if you're seeing lower numbers, then you're missing a lot of opportunity to show ads to other people. So I just wanted to point that out. And the way you would do that is when you create a custom report for the first time, it lets you select a column like coverage, and you could select any of these other columns that you find on other reports as well, just to kind of customize a report for you. Now, there's a section called Allow and Block Ads, and you can select categories of ads that you want to display or not display on your website. And then there's some information about the kind of traffic from the last 30 days and how the amount of traffic relates to the earnings that you've made for that particular category. Now, whereas it may seem tempting to really manage this and go through here and allow and block various categories, the truth is that for the vast majority of people, the vast majority of time, you lose money when you start trying to block things yourself and to try to micromanage Google. You're much better off letting Google select the ads themselves. Now, there are some exceptions to that guidance. One of them is that you may have competitors who are targeting ads to be put on your site, and if you're looking at your site and you see your competitors' ads showing up and you don't want to display them, then you can find settings in here to block those ads. You can block very specific ads, or you can just block entire categories of ads. You may also have some ethical issues. There may be some categories of ads that you simply don't want to display on your site, and if that's the case, then you can locate those in this section. Now, in this course, I'm not explaining how to set up Google Analytics on your website. You'll have to find that in another course, but once you have Google Analytics set up on your site, where you're actually tracking all your visitors and the pages that they're going to, and when you have AdSense set up as well, you can link your AdSense account to your Google Analytics account, and you do that on this home page in the dashboard where it says Integrate with Google AdSense. You just click that. And then, as you see here, it says you must be an administrator of a Google Analytics account to integrate it with this AdSense account. So you need to have already set up an analytics account. Now, in this particular situation, there is not an analytics account set up, so I can't demonstrate that for you. But if you did have one set up, then it's going to list the account that it found for you, and you'll simply select from the pull down menu the right account and the right analytics view, and then click submit that you want to link those things together. And I'll show you what it looks like after you've done that. Let me bring up an analytics account. And the huge advantage you'll find to linking your analytics and AdSense accounts together is that analytics will then show you the revenue per page on your website. So these are the different pages on this particular website, and it shows how much money each page has made. And of course, at the page level, you can tell how good the click-through is. This is publisher click-through rate. You saw the click-through on the AdSense dashboard, and it's kind of rolls up all the click-through of the individual articles. But here you can see it on each individual article, and then you can see how much money each individual article is making. And of course, some of them make a lot more per thousand sessions than others. And so this is really, really handy. If you have a website with multiple pages, which most people do, and some websites have many hundreds or thousands of pages, then you can see exactly what percentage of your revenue is coming from each page, and you can use this to optimize pages that are not performing very well from an AdSense point of view.